Three events have been ran so far in RPL F2's return, but this time we're going to be in Silverstone for tonight's event. A home Grand Prix to many of our drivers and the home of where RPL started as well. Great Britain! Time for round 4 of the season. We're almost halfway there, and it'll be interesting to see where everything shapes up in the championship. With that being said, let's go over our championship standings before our event tonight. Skither leads the championship over Jack and Josh. Josh is not here, though, as he's attending the real-life race in Silverstone. With that being said, though, Metal, also the same for him. He's 4th. Minico's missing. He's 5th. But Blugagi in 6th. Maybe someone who can make an attack toward the top 3 in the championship late on today. We'll have to find out, though. But I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, and later on, I will be joined by our one and only in-race reporter, RPL TITAN IRON. But this circuit is very classic to RPL as a whole, no matter what tier it is. F1, Tier 2, F2, FE, you name it. Tier 3 as well. Whatever tier has ran here. Tier 3 ran earlier here this weekend, and it was George Up Williams who won the race. Tier 2 ran yesterday, and that was Hunted, who won in Spain. However, with that being said, Hunted Tier 2 winner at Spain, George Tier 3 winner in Britain. With that being said, let's see what the drivers can do for tonight's event with those two being in here as well. We have quite a few headlines to go over, but we're going to go over them as we invite our in-race reporter, RPL TITAN IRON. We're going to invite him through the game then because we cannot find him. Don't know why we couldn't find him. But our headlines, just want to give everybody a big heads up for the drivers in tonight's race. So, for tonight's event, safety car is going to be on standard. This is being tested. We don't know if this will be the case for future races, though. We also have where is it? Where is the damage? The damage being on standard. Before, I believe it was on either standard reduced or reduced standard. So that has been changed for tonight's event. Also, it was changed for last night's event in Tier 2 as well. So drivers may be getting a little bit more damage than maybe before. That may be something that you may be accustomed to seeing as well, with that being said. But lots of things to go over for tonight's event. We went over the driver standings already for those of you just joining us, but we also should go over the constructor standings, where Trident lead by a massive margin. Trident are really doing well in F2 so far, but they've got to keep it up. There's still a long way to go for the season. We're almost toward the halfway point, but today is obviously where things can maybe change for Trident in a bad way if Skither or Jack have bad races, but they are previous champions, so it's very unlikely that they end up having bad races here in RPL F2. Also, to speak on yesterday a little bit, we also had in Tier 2 Kippa do well in the Alpine. I believe, if I'm correct, if he's not racing tonight, all of his drivers will be. And there are some drivers he's shuffled around or put in cars or maybe had to get in late on due to things going on. But with that being said, Josh being one of those drivers of his that are missing, got Hunted in. He's reserving for ART. He's making only his 3rd start in the last 3 seasons. Vapor JS is making his RPL F2 debut. He finally got the game early this week, and he raced at the end of the Tier 2 season as well. George Up Williams, a reserve in VAR. You also have as well Goatley and PHM. I believe that's full-time. I could be wrong. I believe I'm wrong. But PHM also have another driver as well. I believe it's the other Haas that is in here, or would be in here, but is not. Faded Knights being the one Haas that I'm talking about that was alongside Polish Hammer, who's the new PHM full-time driver. And, well, Invade reserving for his own academy as well in Carlin. Faded Knights alongside him. Faded Knights also known as Ghost Fame. That's why you might see the other gamer tag right there. So those are your drivers in terms of our headlines that are either reserving, on loan, whatever it may be for tonight's event. But we have now our in-race reporter joining us for the event tonight. We'll check in with him quite a bit during the race, but he'll be here to talk about some headlines while we make sure every driver's in the lobby. Welcome along, RPL TITAN IRON. It's good to have you, and I'm going to be really interested to see how you do tonight. You've only scored 4 points so far this season. I mean, Would you say it's been a bad start or just an unlucky start?
There we go. I just had to make sure my audio was excluded, but anyway, that probably answer it. It's probably been a bit of both, honestly. Had some unlucky moments, and then just had a poor mishaps. I mean, Imola was just not my race to be at all, and then last week it kind of kicked my ass a bit, but
It happens.
but to be fair,
The best of us,
Silverstone.
as they always say.
Yeah, but to be fair, Silverstone, it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite tracks. I've been doing a little bit of practicing, and it'll be interesting. I can't wait for this. It'll be, hopefully it might be a possible turnaround, but I don't want to jinx myself.
Well, anything can happen. It was this race last season for RPL F2 that you were in contention for a podium for a bit.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. It'll be interesting, but yeah. I mean, my confidence is a bit mismatched, but we'll see what happens.
Well, Trat is in, but he's not even on the lineups. So we're going to figure out that one here.
My bet is maybe he might be thrown in for either JTK or JNT because JNT was
that'd be
was
good.
like a star, meaning
But
he may or may not show up.
yeah. But the interesting thing with Trat there is that he's a full-time VAR driver. He loaned George into the team and also got Vapor in as well as a reserve there. I'm interested to see what this is going to be like. George has given the message to ready up because we've been waiting 5 minutes past now, but SV is also trying to get an invite in. And, well, I just got to say it, you know, SLR Metal had it happen in previous weeks, and then he ended up being on time and won for the first time last week in Austria. Don't be late. That's my only suggestion. Yeah. SV's got to hurry in quickly, though, that's for sure. Trat, though, although he's the full-time VAR driver, he will be racing in Campos tonight. So we'll see what ends up happening there. We're about to head into qualifying, by the way, and we're going to have an interesting thing possibly happen that Skither's actually just mentioned as well. A potential for him getting 4 pole positions in a row. Has anybody ever done that? Only one person did that, and it was BRT Griffiths back in Season 7 of F2. You might remember that one, Titan.
I do remember that, yeah. I raced the entire season. Well, I missed one race, but I mean, Griffith was a very good racer, very strong, and he inevitably won the championship. But here we go, time for the qualifying.
Yep, 22 seconds until we load in for qualifying. And, you know, maybe you can have some help with this, Titan. You can end up figuring out the way we see it with where you're at instead of you being focused on that and focus on the track and get yourself a better starting spot. 16 drivers in here, by the way, tonight, and we have about 5 seconds till we start. So just remember, as usual, the P10 driver in qualifying will be on the sprint race pole, which starts first. And, Titan, our laps start now, but what's the weather look like?
By the way, well, I didn't get a chance to look, but we have a dry qualifying. Hopefully it might be dry.
That's
all the
always
way.
good to see. That's always very good to see. So, just a reminder, as we set in our laps here, FBL and Trat Race are already down at the bottom and in trouble for them. Skither now at the back of the field. Did he invalidate? We'll find out. Yes, he did. A 4th consecutive pole will not be happening tonight for Skither, but as we go to the second sector, it's Tadpole who's currently in front, then George, then Valkyrie, and RPL Titan Iron getting himself in the top 5. Maybe some good luck from being our in-race reporter for tonight's event. We'll find out what happens to the rest of the lap, though. You got Jack Miles in the equation. Trident, though, having both cars 5th or lower right now on our order, and Skither disqualified from the session. Wavy Knife also has hit trouble as well. He's also top 10 in the championship, but Tadpole almost went a bit wide there at Cop's corner. And as F2 also races in real life, I'm sure these drivers will be taking all the info they can for tonight's event. We're gonna find out what happens. Invade already said he's not put a setup on. That's trouble for him. He's back in 12th currently, but Tadpole leads the way. He's going through the second sector split now. 11-4 completed that. Jack Miles in second. Vapor JS third. Hunt has had a pole before previously. He's in 4th. Now it's trading the spots there at 5th, but we go to the final sector, the chicane. You got to navigate your way through there. Is it going to be Vapor JS on F2 debut? Not RPL debut, but F2 debut. Or is it going to be Tadpole taking pole position across the line now? Tadpole is going to take his 5th RPL F2 pole, and that is by a staggering margin. He's ahead of Jack Miles, Vapor JS, Hunted, George getting up there for VAR, Goggy, Valkyrie, Titan, Faded, and Ikazuchi getting sprint race pole. RPL Titan Iron, we have 10 seconds until we count things down. How was that lap there? What made you go from 3rd to 8th?
To be fair, I think it was a bit of a mistake that I had down in the left field. Had a bit of trouble getting onto power, but Maggots, Beckett's felt really smooth. Had to be careful because I almost went wide out of Cops, but handled myself pretty well.
Ooh. Skither said his AI started the lap off track, and that messed him up for what had happened on his qualifying lap. Here is your qualifying order. Tadpole on pole position here. It's his first RPL F2 pole since season 16, I believe. Jack Miles is second. Vapor JS up there on F2 debut. They'll start top 3 in the feature race, but our top 3 in the sprint race, Ikazuchi in his second week, Faded Knights in his RPL F2 debut, and RPL Titan Iron running our top 3. Maybe a return back to the podium, Titan, much needed? Don't want to hype you up too much. We'll see.
Only time will tell.
A lot can happen. Time will tell. I mean, there's a lot that can happen for tonight's event. What? Oh! You said you did not see the weather for the race?
Wet to start for the sprint. God dang.
And it is wet. Well, Titan, you had to commentate on this race back in season 15 when it was wet. So this should be chaotic.
It should be. I'm just taking a look at the weather graphic here. It is going to be starting off with the bit of the heavy rain to start. Then towards the middle, light rain will come in, but who knows on if, it does say it will dry out towards the end, but I do not know on if it'll dry out, if the track will dry out for the slicks or not, but only time will tell, but we'll just have to wait and see how well I can do in the wet run, but do I have it in Imola? I'm not really sure.
Well, we got about 10 seconds till we go. Skither, our championship leader, in trouble at the back of the grid for both races. Jack Miles also going to have to start from round 10. We have a formation lap on. Yes, so George has changed that for tonight's event. This shall be interesting to see. Will that affect things, though, Titan, do you think? Maybe for the way the rain goes. We'll find out. I'm going to go over, before I have you answer that question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some of our championship standings, as we see all the drivers on wet tires. SV coming in late. He's in the MP. Just needed to get here on time to get to his full-time ride now. I believe he's full-time in the tier. Yes, he is, actually.
Which one?
Yes. I just forget which one it was. Some guys, Wavy and Skid, are talking about not happy with incorrect settings. I think the only thing that is really incorrect about the settings, as far as I'm aware, is about Park Ferme on. However, I said we're going to go over standings. Let's do it now. We have Skither leading the championship, 84 points he has. He's 28 ahead of Jack. Josh not here tonight in third. Metal not here. Miniko not here. But you know who is here? Who is just behind those guys who can take advantage? Blue Goggy. He's got podiums in the sprint race quite a bit. So let's see if that can be repeated as well tonight. Prema ended up winning the sprint race in real life at Silverstone just earlier today with Kimi Antonelli, so we'll find out if a Prema can end up doing the same in another wet event here. Drivers asking, is for the formation lap supposed to be on? I will give you the answer to that question it seems like in the tier that George ends up coordinating, it's been a bit different compared to the other tiers. Tier 2 usually having formation lap on, F2 usually not, but George getting his first race into the season, he has elected to put that on. Tadpole from pole, he'll be starting 10th, Jack Miles 9th, Vapor JS 8th. Those are the top 3 for the feature race, but our top 3 for the sprint race will be interesting for the start, Titan. You have Ikazuchi, which I've finally figured out how to pronounce that name. I would be worried if I said it like eat his coochie because that did not go well. Faded Knights in 2nd, and RPL Titan Iron, you start 3rd. What are you expecting for the start, and what are you expecting for the whole field for the start?
Just I survive and not just no crashing in the first couple of corners, pretty much.
Well, wet start. You've done a few of these. So has the rest of the field. 2 other wet races so far this season.
Yeah, it'll be quite interesting to say the least. Very quickly, SV, his full time was the high tech. That's where he was going to be in, and yeah, this will be quite interesting to say the least. I'm looking forward to this. We'll see what happens.
It shall be a chaotic one. We've not had rain in an RPL Silverstone race since season 15. We come back 4 seasons later with the 5 red lights kicking on for the British Grand Prix. The lights are out, and away we go. Quite the wet one to get off here, but George Alp Williams down the field already. Lots of trading throughout the field. Valkyrie already up to 2nd. Blue Goggy with an amazing start, and now it's just a bit of pinball here to the midfield. RPL Titan Iron's one with contact. Faded Knight's falling down the field. He started 2nd place. Now they're 3 wide up here. Everybody looks like so far keeping their car in a straight direction, but a lot of drivers making contact and tapping the back of the other drivers. Got RPL Titan Iron also in the midfield here now in a sandwich, but Valkyrie has taken the race lead over Ikazuchi. She's gained 3 spots, and now it's not done just yet. Side by side for the race lead. Ikazuchi wants it back. Valkyrie's got it. And for someone who has struggled so much in these cars so far to start this season, she's got the lead, and she's trying to hang on to it. Blue Goggy's up to 3rd, trying to get his first F2 win. But Hunted, a previous F2 winner in the background there, waiting to pounce, but it's struggling. It's struggling. The grip for the lead. Valkyrie trying to stay on track. Ikazuchi takes it back. And in the midfield, Skither also getting up to the point almost. But 3 wide for our race lead. They both go off. And Blue Goggy looking to take advantage on both. Ken Prema went out big. Their other driver has gained 3 spots. Our in-race reporter, RPL Titan Iron, has lost 3 spots. Tadpole now only 9th. After the start, so he's had trouble. Same with, I would argue as well, Jack Miles down 5. Blue Goggy going for it already around the outside line. Can we get a 3rd different leader to this race? It's gonna have to be with contact though, as he's banged into the side of Valkyrie and now trying to keep this spot around the outside, but the door gets shut. Goggy cannot make anything of it. Hunted now under the pressure. Ikazuchi now under the pressure. It's all kicking off, and Blue Goggy as well. Slow there into the chicane. It's causing a major accordion effect. Vapor JS is sliding, and through goes RPL Titan Iron, our in-race reporter to this event. He was contending for a podium in this race last time, and a big incident behind. Big incident. That's Strat Racer off. That was major damage on the main straight, the Hamilton straight, which has collected, I believe, 3 cars. FBL is now racing with SV, who's overtaken off track, and that may have to be a spot he'll have to give back, but a lot of chaos here in the midfield. Already lap 2 of this race. Vapor JS now down a spot. He's battling Faded Knights. This is all happening behind RPL Titan Iron for 5th, and that's Vapor JS using the runoff, going off, and now bouncing all over the racetrack. Hunted, he's 3rd in this race. He's trying to take over 2nd. Goggy's within proximity of the race lead, but no DRS in these conditions at all. Jack Miles through on Invade right there. That is what would be the point spot in the feature race, but Skither's teammate has the last point spot for the sprint race. But action throughout the whole field so far. Hunted, the first ART. Ikazuchi, our pole sitter to what this race was for the sprint. He is 4th behind. But RPL Titan Iron is right now in 5th. And going through Maggots and Beckett's, and he goes off. So does the car in front of Ikazuchi. And Titan is sliding. But luckily, remain straight. Now, there will be pressure from Faded Knights and Vapor JS. We'll see if they take advantage, but Vapor JS has picked up a track limit penalty. That's our first one inside the top 10. Trat Racer moments ago had a 10-second, for corner cutting, but down the inside, Skither going bold behind Vapor JS, trying to regain the lost ground already. But in our race lead, it's a former F2 winner, Valkyrie, but a former F2 podium sitter trying to take it. That is Blue Goggy. Faded Knights losing the rear in these conditions, trying to slide around and find some grip. RPL Titan Iron doing the same in front of him, but Blue Goggy, second place in this race, has set the fastest lap and is now charging on the back of Valkyrie. We also had Jack Miles overtake Tadpole for 9th, but Blue Goggy closing and now looking to intercept the race lead, but cannot do it. Vapor JS side by side with Faded Knights, all happening behind Goggy's teammate RPL Titan Iron. Skither now to the outside, trying to go the long way around. Can he pull this off on Vapor JS? Contact, both go off, both having to take the escape road a little bit right there, but all is well come the Wellington Straight. Jack Miles in the fight here for 11th. A lot happening through our midfield, but Blue Goggy right now in distance, in striking distance of our race lead. Hunted there to pounce as well, but Valkyrie holding on over Blue Goggy. The question now becomes, will Blue Goggy be able to take this race lead? I would love to see what RPL Titan Iron, his teammate, is thinking, but this is a interesting part of the track where I'll let him focus for a bit, and we'll talk to him come the next big straight. Our race leader Valkyrie trying to win for the 4th time in F2, but our second place man Blue Goggy trying to deny her a victory, and this could possibly be quite the one that Blue Goggy would get for a first victory. Vapor JS takes over 6th over Faded Knights. Skither will definitely want that spot, but some debuting drivers here in RPL F2 all throughout the midfield right now, worth talking about later on. Blue Goggy closing. Valkyrie enters deep but slides. Will Blue Goggy be able to close up and get this race lead over Valkyrie? The question will it be at the end of this lap or next lap? Blue Goggy stays behind and will wait another one, but almost tagged the back of her. RPL Titan Iron in striking distance of Ikazuchi for 4th. If anything happens with those top 3, expect one of those guys to take advantage. Valkyrie, now Hunted, setting the fastest lap, and Faded Knights has been overtaken by Skither as Wavy Knife and George go at it. Remember, these two have some beef from the USA race back in Tier 2. George forcing Wavy off the track, it looked like, maybe. Wavy weaving the wheel, not happy, clearly. Goatley down the inside as well. He's trying to go for some action here in the back of the field, trying to regain some spots that they have lost. But Wavy Knife close to the back of George and hits the back of him for good measure. And through goes Wavy. You were saying, RPL Titan?
Ikazuchi was struggling in the loop, and I was right on him. I'm like, come here, I want that spot.
Well, looks like your teammate Blue Goggy is now 3/10 back, but cannot get by Valkyrie. The question is, will it happen now? Will it happen later? If he waits till later, Hunted might take advantage. Blue Goggy knows, so Valkyrie slightly struggling right here. And Blue Goggy probably doing the same thing right there as they slide through cops. He needs to get by. He has a chance to get by. But where will this move come? Valkyrie sliding, Goggy sliding, Hunted waiting in the background. Hunted has not won an RPL F2 race since Season 5 back in Bahrain. His only win back then. But our new Tier 1 driver, ready to make the move. He made the move up a tier. Now, Blue Goggy up in front of him, making the move for the race lead. Down the inside, side by side. The pair of them almost coming together. But Blue Goggy leads this race. Technically a home race, but Valkyrie going back down the inside, not going to give this fight up. So far, she's struggled in F2 cars, so a win, a race lead moment would be a very good one for her. But now, they're side by side for 2nd. Hunted, with all this battling, has set the fastest lap, but Valkyrie hangs on for 2nd now still. Skither, the fastest lap set for him. And RPL Titan Iron, under pressure from Skither, who just set the fastest lap. Under pressure from Vapor JS. Vapor JS has a penalty. Skither does not. Skither, our championship leader, has not finished worse than 5th this season, but that could definitely be coming undone. Blue Goggy, our race leader, hanging on. 4/10 the gap, but No DRS in these conditions will surely help him hang on to this race lead. Titan, what are you thinking of your teammate?
Well, him currently leading is very good. From hearing it from you, it sounded like he was putting a lot of pressure on Valk, but I mean, we'll have Hunted to deal with, and Hunted, being my boss of McLaren Alpine, he's the driver that loves challenging. Maybe I just saw my review say they're almost down to the back of Vapor.
I know, I thought they were going to go wheel to wheel there on the run to the old start finish straight, but I think he's looking to take him into cops here. Vapor JS sliding, everybody's sliding. These are the kind of conditions it's like where you have to slide in order to be fast. And in the background, though, is Tadpole going a bit wide there. But you spoke about Hunted now. Hunted is on the back of Valkyrie. He's gained 4 spots. Goggy's gained 4 spots. Our big winner from everything goes to Skither. 9 spots gained. Second place up for grabs here. Hunted needs to get by if he wants to go challenge our race leader, Blue Goggy. He's looking. Now down the inside. Here he comes. Equally wheel to wheel. Now contact between the pair. Touching again. Hunted may try the left side. He does move over to try the left side this time. Down the inside. Goggy is loving this. So is Ikazuchi, who's in 4th, waiting for a crash to happen to get to the podium. But Hunted cannot go by. This is interesting racing here for the midfield as Skither has got 6th place. But 2 Academy teammates now go at it. Jack Miles, his Academy teammate as well, his teammate, the fastest lap. But Skither gained 10 spots already. He started 16th. Now he's trying to gain another spot as George Alp Williams enters the penalty club. But Vapor JS, whoa! He went for an audacious move. He went down the inside, but couldn't make it work. He's fallen back now into the path of Tadpole. This will be very interesting to see, but also interesting that Blue Goggy has pulled out a second gap on Valkyrie. Hunted there still close, but this is going to get very interesting. Skither going for a dive. Titan saw coming, and both them bang. Bit of contact between them. Yellow flags, that's further back. That should be, I believe, Goatly around. But as Hunted looks to take 2nd place, Titan and Skither, unlike last season's race, don't come together. That's same exact corner too.
Definitely caught me off. Definitely caught me off by surprise. That was for sure. I thought he was gonna overshoot.
Oh, Valkyrie gives up 2nd place. Hunted through. Maybe that was the smart move if she wanted to have a chance maybe for this race win. Maybe follow Hunted through. I just don't know if she has the pace to do so. And now Titan and Vapor JS going wheel to wheel. Vapor JS excelling and ahead. Invade into the penalty box. Now Tadpole trying to take advantage. Titan looks like he's getting eaten alive right here. 4-car race here for 6th place. Heating up here in the midfield. Now Titan's trying to go by and gets onto the kitty litter. Luckily, re-enters in front of Jack and safely through as well. Jack now looking to go down the inside. Titan trying not to hit the car in front as well. Jack does have damage on the end plate, and they do bang.
I think Jack and I both had a bit of a snap over out of Vale, but I had to look again on it. But I think when I went on to go attack Vapor, he moved under braking in front of me.
Well, we do have my stream, the main stream. We do have your stream as well to go off of. We'll see if there's anything that gets handed out later. Vapor JS, you mentioned him, making his RPL F2 debut today. He's a former Tier 1 driver. Got the game for the first time this week, so maybe that'll be something learned later on. Skither on the attack. Ikazuchi under pressure. Now, what will Skither's threatening do for this place, for the run back? FBL and Invade for 11th place. FBL absolutely with a monstrous send. Invade with an amazing switcheroo. Invade hanging on, but FBL having the inside line here on the curbing. Will he excel or will Invade excel? Reel-to-wheel action here on the old start finish straight. If this is where the race would be decided, FBL would have 11th place, but Invade would likely want that back spin. Vapor JS is off. And Titan, I'm sure you'd love that because that puts you back in the points.
Yeah, that's karma for him.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. By the way, we commentate Tier 1 later today. We'll mention that in a little bit later on. But one thing I'll mention now ahead of time is we've got a new contract for DeChiller moving to Mercedes. Speaking of moves, Skither on the move for 4th. Up 12 places now. This man will not give down a fight for sure, and his academy teammate is leading this race. But if you're Blue Goggy in this situation, do you start to wonder here? That's my question. Maybe Titan can answer it. Fastest lap. Goggy, hunted. Does it go to Skither then? Skither's been going fast. No. So Goggy and Hunted are still running fast laps, regardless of the fact that Skither is running quite fast, as Luke Range makes his weekly appearance to the lobby.
I just had to look at the weather, by the way. According to Mark, ETA 10 minutes for the rain to clear up, so we'll be under these wet tires till the end.
It sounds like we would need a safety car in order for there to be dry tires, but we're kind of out of our safety car window almost.
Yeah, just about.
So, I believe there was a penalty there handed out on track limits to one of the drivers outside of the points. Vapor.js, his day's gone from bad to worse, and he has hit trouble. I think he's gone into AI mode as well when re-entering the track. That could have been treacherous. We still have battles back here in the positions outside the points. FBL and Invade, Wavy and Trat. George also in the mix, probably just trying to get used to F2 cars as well. He's with teammate Vapor now back there. But Blue Goggy is being pressurized by Hunted. Is it going to be the first win for Blue Goggy, or is it going to be Hunted returning to victory for the first time in 14 seasons of F2? I can't believe I'm saying that word's Titan. That's how crazy it is. But Goggy may have made a mistake there. Hunted still closing. Hunted bettering his laps. I think to your point, though, Titan, track conditions getting better, meaning, well, hold on. Tadpole Nikazuchi, wheel to wheel, almost banging down the straight here. This is getting almighty close between two academy teammates, I believe, and it's going to be contact. Nikazuchi staying ahead, though, of Tadpole. Jack Miles in the back row waiting to pounce. He has wing damage. Skither has damage to his qualifying and his feature race. I say to his qualifying, well, because of his qualifying, to his sprint and feature race. Dudes are starting back there, but that doesn't shame him at all. He's now trying to get a 3rd place position on our running order and 13th spot gained, excuse me. I'm having quite a time here. Wavy and Trat. Oh, collision. Wavy jumping over the curb. Trat goes off. George is waiting in the wings to take advantage. Trat running wide at the final corner, and Vapor.js is out in the pit lane. That's our first retirement of this race. Goggy close to Hunted still. Hunted close to Goggy, actually. It should be that way, actually. But Wavy Knife trying to get George. Will we see a bit of payback from Texas from a season ago? Well, also earlier in this race, them two make contact, and they make contact again here into turn 3. Skither, close to Valkyrie. I was just going to say to you, Titan, earlier, I think you're not really in a battle anymore, just holding on to the last points would tie your best finish of the season. I could say this kind of now, as they are battling in front of you. I think with the conditions kind of dying down, like you said, I do think fastest lap after fastest lap will be set.
Yeah, fastest lap is gonna be a bit of a war because I've been seeing it swap all over the place between Hunted, Skither. I think Blue Goggy at one point used to have it, but yeah, I think maybe like right towards like the penultimate lap or even the last lap itself, there probably will be a last lap gasp to see who will get it.
Ooh, Wavy Knife has a penalty.
Yeah, Wavy Knife's just went wide. I got FBL on my butt.
Well, 3 wide, 3 abreast here into the final couple of corners. Stowe corner now. Tadpole on the inside line. Jack Miles with wing damage trying to go around the outside and sliding to perfection as well. Almost hung on to it. He didn't. Tadpole is through. Also in the background, you had Skither get ahead of Valkyrie. Blue Goggy was backing up Hunted there, but he has 2 more laps to hang on to win his first race, Blue Goggy here. Can he do it? Skither, fastest lap for him. He's in 3rd place. If Hunted and Goggy battle, it's going to be the win for Skither. And Hunted, here he comes. Around the outside, trying to find but extra rotation, but he's sledding in the process. Goggy has the experience compared to Hunted. He's done laps in the wet this season. Hunted, it's basically his first laps in the wet in these cars, and he is adapting quite well, but Blue Goggy is going very defensive here. Now, do you try to get a win for the Academy here? Or do you try and get the win for yourself here for the first time? Goggy went a bit wide. Hunted now taking advantage. And can he break the 14-season drought? He broke a 3-season drought yesterday in Tier 2. Hunted, closing, now in a cop's corner, almost side by side. Wowee. To mention this about Hunted, I did not think he'd be racing tonight, but this is how long it's been since his last F2 win. It was the first race of F1 2020. That's how long ago it was, and he's got a penalty! Oh my goodness! Dramatic change to this race. Blue Goggy can basically sail home knowing that his competition will be Skither, and RPL Titan Iron's also got a penalty. He's the last one of the points.
Yeah, I think I will probably get that removed because one of my warnings was getting shoved off by another car. So I think I could get that removed to get that place back.
Luckily, you have a stream. That's the good part.
Yep.
The good part for Blue Goggy is that he's got Hunted behind with the penalty. Hopefully, for Blue Goggy's sake, he does not have a penalty. Skither closing. He's 1.6 back, and he's just at the fastest lap. Just like Monza for Skither in RPL F1 2 seasons ago, it may be too little too late. But in terms of Blue Goggy's career, he was identified as one of the worst RPL drivers in history before. At one point. Right now, he's en route for a first win. Tadpole is en route for taking 4th place, while Trat Racer, outside the points, took the fastest lap. But you can see the rain dying down, the battling, not doing that. Goggy's tires definitely dying for sure. He's got Hunted following, but is it too little too late for Goggy or Skither here? Whether it be for their positions, too little too late for Goggy in terms of saving tires and having that prevail, or Skither catching and passing. Catching's one thing, passing's another, and here comes Hunted trying to do that. Tadpole right there with Valk and Jack, but our battle is back at the lead. Hunted wants it on track. Skither is there. He's trying to do what basically was worst to first, and the time is coming for either Blue Goggy to win it or Skither to get there. Skither's closing. He's right there on Blue Goggy. Is the win slipping away from Blue Goggy, who might have killed his tires? One last sector to go. The Malta/British driver is trying to hang on. Skither is there. And our championship leader is battling his team principal, the academy teammate. Goggy sends it, but slides and goes deep, and he's off, and he cannot do it. Goggy has lost the win away from the skin of his teeth, but it's Skither who went from 16th to 1st. An amazing drive is gonna win once again. The championship leader takes the British sprint. Blue Goggy. Heartbreak, just shy of the victory, but another 2nd place finish. Hunted is 3rd, back on the podium. Then it's Tadpole, Jack, Valkyrie, Igazuchi, and Titan just misses out on points, but may get that appealed, as he says.
Damn it.
Prema, 2-9, maybe 2-8, but for Blue Goggy's case, he drove it with his all. He just missed out on that win, and you could see the front wing damage. He had a left front puncture on the last lap. That is why he ended up missing out on the victory. Unfortunate for Blue Goggy. Skither
my left
says
rear
he wins
almost
with
went
damage.
to 79% on the left rear.
Wow. Lot of people ended up having a lot of things go on in that event. More so at tires, it looked like. Our podium celebrations underway. Skither beating Blue Goggy here for the victory, and he takes his 30th F2 win tonight. Here are your points after the sprint event. Blue Goggy gonna move up to 5th place in the championship after that event. Skither gonna extend the lead over Jack Miles. And keep in mind, with Trident's performance, they have a feature race to go on to. Will they end up winning that? Will they end up extending the championship lead so much to where they win the Constructors so many rounds early? They're almost 100 points ahead of the next car. Or the next team, excuse me. Next Constructor. Still a car. It's the same thing. You know, we'll ignore that. But here are your final results here from the event. Skither from 16th on our grid ends up winning the sprint race. I don't know if he'll do it from 16th, though, because our last 19 feature races have been won from the top 3 starting spots. Here are your final results. Goggy, Hunted, Tadpole, Jack, Valkyrie, Ikazuchi, and Faded, maybe soon to be Titan, our last points runners, and all of our points runners there on our screen. Your final results. Vapor.js, the only driver to retire from the event. Wow.
Vade had 94 on his. Good God.
Hunted at 95. Drive feature race. And maybe this could be what we see for the real life Grand Prix tomorrow. This amount of sun, we'll find out. I've seen a lot of great races around Silverstone, but that was quite interesting though from Skither to come through, charge through, get the victory. Jack,
Ooh.
Tadpole, they've left the session. Ooh, we're gonna get Tadpole and invite back. But that is big for our top 2, I believe, in the feature race. Tadpole will come back. Titan, let me know how much is left till we get going.
We haven't started yet, but I just took a look at the weather demographic. A possibility of a threat of rain towards the end of the race.
So basically similar to what Spain was. I think every race this season we've got a threat of rain at some point. But Spain, it didn't rain. Spain, it was supposed to rain in the last 2 laps, and it didn't. Chat, give us your predictions. We don't have much going on right now, but as we wait to ready up, we should mention F1 in Japan to kick off F1's part of the weekend and end off our weekend as a whole. Tier 3 at Hungary later on next week. Tier 2 at Spa. And F2's upcoming races include the following. Saudi Arabia. I just recently did a league race there. Hopefully I can give you some info about that, Titan, to help you out. Qatar, Texas, Vegas, Brazil, and Singapore. We do have formation lap on, so we'll try and play it carefully. But Jack, of course, rejoining the session. I don't know if Tadpole did, but Jack and Tadpole had their game crash. Could be big trouble for the feature race for them, Titan.
Yeah, because even if they rejoined during the formation lap, unfortunately, they gotta wait until after lights out to take control of their car. But I mean, for Jack and Tadpole, that would, especially since Jack being my teammate, academy teammate, and even though Tadpole is a bit of a rival, academy-wise, fingers crossed. I hope they do not get what happened to Reese last week, because Reese, who lagged out, he joined back, could not take control of his car, and when he had to leave to try again, the game retired him. I'm just hoping Jack and Tadpole don't get the same fate.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Now, do you know what's happening as to why we're not reading up yet, or no?
I think it's probably George is waiting for them.
Well, I think that's fair. I think that's very, very fair. Remember, the rule in F2 being, and well, overall being you have to wait until the host readies up to ready up. But now we're readying up. I don't know if anyone readied up early or not, but we'll find out. I see a bit of difference on tires. The top 2 on softs, they can't really choose their strategy, whereas the others can. Vapor.js, the first one on hards. Tadpole has joined back. Obviously, Vapor.js would have prioritized this race, though, after being out in the sprint. And he's never had a podium in RPL, but he's also never had points either, I believe. I'm correct, from RPL F1. Titan, maybe you can correct me on that. The AlphaTauri driver from last season, Vapor.js, in 3rd.
I will say this: I made a mistake. I made a mistake on my on my thing.
Strategy?
Yeah. I switched over to going on to the harder set. Gonna go onto the hards and then run onto the softs, but then with like 2 seconds left, I hit the back and I hit the A like one too many times, and it put me on.
Yikes.
It put me on the alternative 2-stopper.
Wow. At least you could do soft hard and change that. Just don't end up doing what John or George ended up doing earlier this season in Bahrain, where they ended up forgetting to change their strategy and it costed them later on. Speaking of strategy, I'll go over the lineup now here for our feature race. Our top 10 is as follows. Tadpole, previous RPL F2 winner on the soft. Same with Jack Miles, the previous champion. Vapor JS, RPL F2 debut weekend. He is in third. We saw another driver win on debut so far this season. That was Josh, maybe a fourth first-time winner this season. He's on hards. He's the first one on hards. His teammate, George, is fifth. He's a previous F2 winner. Same with Hunted on hards in fourth. Goggy, second again. Another podium coming up just shy. I think it's, what, maybe his fifth F2 podium? Seventh in terms of, well, no, there's definitely more. It's like nine podiums in all tiers combined. He's on softs. Valkyrie on hards. She's a previous winner. RPL Titan Iron, a previous podium sitter of RPL F2 7 times. Probably sick of hearing that one. Probably would want to hear a first-time winner here to his name. He's on softs. Faded Knights on softs. Ikazuchi on softs. That's our top 10. Outside of our top 10, keep an eye out for names like FBL. I did an F2 race with him earlier. Oh, someone's in the grass on the formation lap. I was just going to say with FBL, he ended up doing an F2 race with me earlier this week in a different league. He ended up doing decent there in terms of pace. That was Saudi, though. He'll do well next week there, I'm sure. But this week, though, maybe similar to Austria last week, he can try to recover from the back of the field, have this race prioritized. Skither's back there as well on the hards. Wavy has scored some points in races this season. He's on the hards. He was close to scoring a podium last week. But our winners from last week, Metal and Skither. Skither and who this time? That's going to be the question as we get onto the grid just now. Titan, any thoughts on what we will see on the start here? I'll leave that to you. What do you think will happen here?
Right, similar thing with the sprint, just seeing some people try to like clamor around for positions, going into the first couple of corners. Probably will see a contact or someone getting spun heading into the loop. That's probably what we're looking at.
The 5 red lights are kicking on for the F2 feature race around Silverstone. They rev it up, and we are go. Tadpole and Jack, both in AI, I believe, maybe back in control now after they lagged out on the formation lap. But Vapor JS and George side by side, Goggy and Hunted side by side, all kicking off. I saw a bit of contact in the back. That's caused Invade and FBL to drop down the order, but 3 wide. Blue Goggy, Valkyrie, maybe even 4 wide here up in front at the 4th place, 5th place spots. But it's all kicking off. Faded Knights, Strat Racer, interesting racing there. Car off in the background, that's SV off, but for our race lead, Jack got a decent launch off the line, but an even better start into Sector 2. Here he comes for our race lead. Tadpole has it, Jack wants it. Hunted and George battling. Ikazuchi and Valkyrie battling. George now and Goggy battling. George now trying to get some spots back after he lost them on the start. Hunted, the same could be said for him, but it's all squawking around here into Cop's corner, side by side here. George not giving an inch to Hunted, who goes off. Hunted rejoins this race in front of George. In the background, they're also side by side there at Faded and Valkyrie, Invade and Trat, but 2 by 2 here. Really, for the last point spots, into Maggots and Beckett's. This is chaotic here on the start. But a dry feature race for maybe some rain to come later on will be interesting. We'll find out what happens there as the cloud cover will probably start here in the next few laps. Tadpole leads, Jack wants it, but Hunted close to Blue Goggy for a spot, and Invade has the last point spot but wants another spot. He's going to try for 9th now. Will he get this place over Valkyrie? They're touching wheels, but Invade is through. Let's look at our positions gained as Wavy, FBL, Vapor, Goggy, 2 former rivals there, traded spots. Goggy's up 3, Invade is up 6, Skither up 3, but down the most places. Valkyrie down 4. Vapor JS and Blue Goggy, they race each other in other leagues, but right now, this is RPL, and this is RPL F2, where they duke it out. Oh, Vapor's getting tagged! That's from Hunted! Vapor's going spinning around! And on his debut, it's one he would have wanted to forget. That is unfortunate for the VAR, while another VAR of George has been overtaken, and Vapor JS has been given a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting, and he has chose to retire on track. That is against the rules. But his teammate, though, sees Hunted slide. George with the switchback, trying to go through. In the background, more battling from 8th on back, now 7th on back. Side by side all over you see on this circuit. George propelling ahead. Invade on the back of Titan. Invade also has Ikazuchi. Where else do you look for action? To Cop's corner. And Vapor JS, after that race, has chose to leave the server. Strat Racer, side by side with Valkyrie, into Maggots and Beckett's. Strat Racer ahead. He already was on the back foot from the qualifying ban he had to serve from not being in the lineups. Him also being the TP in that position too. had to do that for himself. He's now trying to do for himself some places up the grid. Titan, on the inside of Invade, still has the car alongside him, side by side here into Stowe. Good racing between the pair of these guys, but this is for 6th. Right now, they're trying to gain some spots. Titan has the inside line now for the next corner. Invade shoving his way through, and he does get the spot. Ikazuchi is well on the inside. Wheel to wheel here. Now, Ikazuchi trying to get the place. Titan banging wheels with him on the main straight. Now, the car just porpoising because you don't want to run over those bumps on the left side of the track. But Titan gets ahead. Now, FBL into the penalty club.
That was a bit hairy.
It still is a bit hairy. Here we go into now what's going to be the next straight with DRS applied. Titan ahead, Faded ahead of Skither. Faded side by side with Skither. In his RPLF debut, Faded is having quite the racing going on here in the midfield, but George, Hunted, and Invade now are going at it. Invade. Oh no, Titan's around. Big collision, 3 cars around. Beta Knights is out. Virtual safety car. Beta Knights had something go on there where he had cars in front spin and Strat Racer around under the VSC. Oh, Wavy's around too. What the hell? Our in-race reporter Titan has the chance to mention what happened there.
It was in the breaking in Brooklyn, and all of a sudden just the rear just went off on me. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. But, and I think Faded whacked off of me because for some weird reason, my car did not ghost at all.
Ooh. Skither saying to Faded, that was deserved. What the F was that? And our man on the podium, our man who got the podium and was leading the last time, has a drive-through. Blue Goggy, trouble for him. He has to serve it, and he will serve it this lap. Faded, already taking blame out of this race in the driver's chat, expressing his frustrations for his own self right there. Hunted hanging on over Invade, but this race is now opened up for the podium. George Alp Williams takes it, while Wavy Knife goes into the pit lane. 10-second time penalty. He's out of this race. FBL charging down the inside, throws it on Goatley, but he locks up. Now, FBL ahead there of Goatley. Goatley hopping onto the curb. SV gets a penalty. But right now, Skither also still doing the recovery drive once again. Remember, you have to pit in the feature race, so this will all be irrelevant maybe later, but we'll find out. Skither through ahead of Ikazuchi. And Strat Racer, our 4th retirement. We've got 4 retirements so far in the first 4 laps. Quite disappointing.
That's what you're doing, Go, but that wasn't going to work there. I just
we'll look back there what's
the
happening. Wavy Knife says, not bothered, people are just going to drive like that. I will say, F2 this season so far has been much, much more cleaner than seasons prior, but this race may be being a bit chaotic. I'm not sure. Wavy Knife collected in that midfield melee there where 5 cars spun out entering Sector 2. But in Mackett's and Beckett's, we're about to go down one of the most famous straights here. Got Titan in the mix, FBL in the mix, but up in front, top 5 all have a battle to focus on. Goggy has a battle with the track limits and penalties not to focus on. He had a drive-through, now a track limit penalty. But for these guys up in front, it's Tadpole versus Jack. Then for 3rd, it's George versus Hunted versus Invade. PHM literally doing 10 at the apex of left field, and him and FBL moving on to braking. That is what Wavy has expressed for his frustrations during this event that has led to him being out of this race. SV pitting. Will he be the next one to retire? We'll find out. Wavy Knife leaves the session. And Goatley picks up a 3-second time penalty. That'll be crucial there at the back of the field for point spots. But George has 4th. Hunted wants it. How will George protect this place over Hunted? 2 good friends, I would say. But 2 fierce rivals on the track. Hunted, now the Welshman, trying to go around the outside. And to be fair to these 2, they've won already this weekend. Jack has not. Will we get a 3rd different Welshman to win this weekend? We'll find out.
Wolf.
Up in front, FBL and Valkyrie getting really racy here for 8th place. Valkyrie has it. FBL trying to do the up and under and trying to fake Valkyrie out. But right now it's not working. FBL is going to go the long way around, and I don't think Valkyrie wanted to give much room. They come together!
Oh, baby!
Oh, FBL's off. Luckily, Titan has the chance to take advantage, but FBL right there saw Titan coming at light speed right there and had to be careful when he ran to the racetrack. Titan closing up, but cannot make the move. FBL looks like he's just in DRS right there. He just got it, but up in front, Hunted through for third on George Alp Williams. George has returned to F2. Looks to be going quite well, to say the least, here for the feature race after a bad sprint race. And into the pit lane for our first stop, it is Ikazuchi. And Titan also joins him as well on those soft tires. Titan, what was the wear like on the softs?
Let's see, I got 49 on the left front, 40s on the rear, plus my freaking, plus the inner carcass of the rears are, like, scorching orange when I came in.
We'll have to focus on that for our soft runners like Invade, Jack, and Tadpole with their tire wear. If they stay out another lap, maybe they'll be in puncture territory. Goatley and FBL. That's a spot being traded there. Goatley, meanwhile, ahead of FBL. But out of our pit lane here, we have Ikazuchi, Titan, those guys coming out. And George, Hunted, wheel-to-wheel action here. Skither in the background, waiting to pounce. But this is all 7 seconds behind our race lead. So right now, this is only going to be for the podium place. Skither through on Invade, both Academy teammates right there. But it's not done yet with George and Hunted. George through on Hunted, now side by side further back, into Cop's corner. Skither just ahead. He makes the move work. But DRS online for the 3 cars behind George Alp Williams here for the podium place now into Sector 3 soon. Hunted trying to claw back at George, throwing one down the inside. Hunted late in the brakes, but is ahead. George trying to cut back. Will it work out? Yellow flags. That is Blugagi. Well, that is unfortunate. Blugagi has really been a sprint race merchant so far this season. This feature race for him not going the way he would have wanted it, but Invade heads to the pit lane. Just a reminder for these drivers, a brand new pit lane to get used to. It's quite a bit later. A lot of things reprofiled around the circuit. And just to give you some advice, Titan, here, as you will enter the main straight, you do want to enter exactly how you're entering right here into Stowe Corner, but on the main straight and into Sector 2. A little bit of helping Titan Iron Wolf out here, who's running outside the points as we stand. Maybe going to be inside the points later on. But, yeah, exactly what you see Hunted, George, and Skither doing. Driving offline, not to hit those bumps. You will lose an exact 10th from it doing just that. Goggy, more woes continue for him. He has had another off, and this time we may see him retire in the pit lane unless he just goes for fastest lap. He may try to steal that point away from somebody inside the points, and I would not blame him with the way his race is going. For his case, though, I would just really hope Tadpole would not win this race if I'm Blugagi, because he would be overtaken in the championship for 5th place if that happens.
Well, it just depends on what was going to happen, but we're seeing how he's continuing on. But yeah, I have been noticing with the track itself, the racing line on the Wellington Straight is super bumpy. So in order to not bounce around everything, I have to be offline in the middle of the track.
George Alp Williams going for an audacious send on Hunted, and it looked like Hunted maybe wanted to get to the pit lane but couldn't. He was going to go down the inside of Skither and George. Hunted and Skither both going at it, and now Hunted taps George, causes him to have a little wiggle wobble, and Skither will try to go around the outside of an ex-teammate and an ex-rival in the F1 cars. Looks to be all okay, but they'll take the race lead as our 2 leaders have blinked first, and a bit of contact. Look to be Skither and Hunted. Hunted off the road. Hunted comes back on, but behind Skither. Troubling for those guys. Tadpole and Jack enter the pits, and where will they be in comparison to Invade as he comes out now? By the way, Goatley for PHM inside the points right now, yet to pit. PHM, the only team in F2 yet to score points. Around the outside, Skither is going to try this on George. He made him lock up, it looks like, and made him go a bit wide. Banging wheels a little bit with George there, but George going to go defensive on the inside line and going to shove him out. George playing a bit argy-bargy with Skither. But these two, I would say, race each other this exact way. Both of them, very aggressive, very on the limits. And it's going to be again into Cops. Down the inside, Skither thought about it, but backed off. And maybe wanted George to go wide there in a Cops corner. We'll see FBL now go down the inside of Valkyrie at Cops corner. Trying to get her to back out. She didn't. It actually costed FBL more in this battle. But Jack Miles, behind Tadpole after the pit cycles, Invade maybe gained about a second, maybe 5/10 right there. Not a whole lot, but he's still in the fight maybe for a podium later on. Because these guys right now battling it out right in front still have yet to pit. Skither threw into the lead of this race, but did he go too deep? That's now the question. He'll hang on. Hunted, another penalty for him. This man cannot keep it within the track limits. It's treacherous for Hunted, who's trying to get the race lead over these two before they pit. George and Skither going at it, and Skither leads that lap.
Looks like Invade just got himself into the penalty box. And SV
We have
crashed.
a lot going on. Oh, yep, that is... You're right, SV. Big battle. FBL and Valkyrie at it again. Maybe this is what it's going to be the last point spots here, maybe. We'll see what happens when they pit. These guys yet to pit are drivers who have pitted. Hold on. FBL with a big lunge down the inside at turn 4 there. Does he make it work when the DRS gets applied? They are pinching one another down the straight. It is going to be FBL getting out ahead, but will they stay this way? Bit of contact. Goatley down the inside. Valkyrie also has to concede. For our race lead, George and Skither battling it out while Blue Goggy's into the penalty club. George on the inside through at Cops, but Skither tries to cut back and almost hits him. Now, he's pushing him along here as we get to Maggots and Beckett's. This is going to be scintillating stuff here as we get to Sector 3. But once again, it's SV into the pit lane. But for our race lead, meanwhile, George has it. Skither wants it. Skither back through. George not going to give it up. Trying to show him the inside line here that he still wants to have it. Do they go to the pit lane, though? Yes, they do. George and Hunted do. Skither faked it, though, so that shall be interesting to see if he pits the other lap here. FBL, Goatley, Valkyrie, do any of them box? No, they do not. RPL Titan Iron. Man, 3-second penalty for our driver that we have in-race reporting with us tonight.
Yeah, I turned just a smidge too early at Beckett's.
As some would say, Titan, that sounds like a skill issue.
Blow me.
Well, it happens, but you still have a chance, I would say, because there are a lot of drivers fiercely battling it out still. 10 seconds between Skither, who's yet to pit, and FBL in second place in this race. Tadpole and Jack close, but George and Hunted come out right around Invade. Will it be ahead? Yes, it will, but will it be by DRS detection ahead? Yes, it will. Maybe just, maybe not. I think Invade was 9/10 back on Hunted. It's Hunted and George battle. They're on the soft tires. They cannot keep battling this out if they want to have a chance at the victory over Jack and Tadpole. They will be on the better tires, but maybe not enough time. Again, they gotta not battle it out here. Invade is there as well, and if George gets a penalty for some reason, he will be the one vulnerable with Hunted and Invade, because Hunted and Invade both have track limit penalties. Into the pit lane is SV. Is this the end of his race? We'll find out. But Blue Goggy overtakes him. They're at the back of the field. They're about to go a lap down, but they're going to be fighting for the fastest lap as Jack Miles picks up a track limit penalty. That's a rarity from him. Right now, Valkyrie and Goatley trading spots down into Sector 3 Stowe corner. Valkyrie goes through and gets the upper edge. Hunted now on George. This is great action we're seeing all throughout the field. When does this battling stop? When do these guys stop battling it out and get single file to go catch Jack? Because they can get second place on the podium now with at least one of them. Into the pit lane is Goatley, Valkyrie, and FBL. The question now becomes with Skither, when does he pit? He was involved in an incident earlier on this race, as we know, with Faded. That involved Titan, Trat, Wavy, and maybe one other I'm missing. But fastest lap set by Invade. It was basically our big one, yeah. I would agree with that. It did feel a little bit like, I'll use a NASCAR reference for those maybe wanting to tune into some action later on this weekend. The Chicago Street Course, we have yellow flags. That is in front of Titan, I think, maybe. No, Beats behind him. I was going to say with the Chicago Street Course, there was an accident in practice with two Xfinity Series drivers where one driver was crashed, one came piling in. Yes, it's the Chicago Street Course. You are hearing that right, that they're racing at. I was just going to say with that incident, it seemed like with Wavy and Strat Racer, later on when the VSC was deployed, they were the ones piling in. But Titan, you're running in a good spot here, although SV just picked up a penalty. You have one, 3 seconds to your name, ahead of FBL, and that is SV around. Don't worry about that one, that's not our race leaders. But for your case, Titan, you still have a chance here to hang on for points and maybe get another spot.
Anything can happen. I just gotta keep my cool, and even though I'm on the slower compound, I'm probably just gonna be a pain in the neck. Hello, what the hell?
Oh, big incident! Titan and FBL have clashed. Titan's off and into the barrier.
Okay, I did not do a late block. He had like 3 car lengths behind me. He just bulldozed me out of here. What a jerk.
Well, you could hear Titan's frustration right there. He had a chance maybe to get an 8th place spot. Maybe 9th if Valkyrie got it back, but looks like that has come undone. Unfortunate Titan. It's ended up that way. Now we have Hunted and George taking over the 3rd place spot as Skither comes out ahead of Invade. He's on the soft tires, but on fresher soft tires. Too little, too late maybe for the podium? We'll find out. Definitely for the race win, too little, too late. It's Jack and Tadpole it's between. But right now, Tadpole is looking to take a first victory, I think in 2 seasons, if that sounds about right for Tadpole's case. I mean, he's not won since season 17 Monza back then. But ironically enough, that race was round 4. Today is round 4. Maybe a win in the sights of Tadpole in front of him? We'll find out. Well, interestingly enough, Titan, I know you've had your exchanges recently in TP chat. Be glad it's not you this time. I see J&T and Egg having a little small disagreement. I won't call it an argument, but a small disagreement. Not happy with each other about the DeChiller to Mercedes move. DeChiller resolved his Ferrari contracts and went to Mercedes to take over Cam's spot that Cam is now, you know, I guess gone elsewhere for, we'll say. We'll talk about that later on. George with Hunted. Wow, Hunted went wide, and did he let George through, or did he just make a mistake there, Hunted? What happened for Hunted to have George go through? And RPL Titan Iron, that's a 6-second penalty in total. That's unfortunate.
Same thing as the 3-second. Turned a bit, apparently, supposedly I turned a bit too early for Beckett's, but I thought it looked fine.
I think I had that same issue in Tier 3, by the way. The start of Maggots and Beckett's, where I would turn too early.
I think the track limits are a little bit more nastier than previous.
But sometimes some tracks needed that. We'll see what these guys need now for 3rd place. Up for grabs. George, Up, Williams, and Skither. No penalties. Hunted with the penalty, though. Going for it. 3 abreast into Sector 2. Do they make it out alive? No! George and Skither clutching once again. George is off. And George and Skither just seem to not always find a way to not clash with each other. Seems like Monza Formula Endurance when they were teammates, I believe, working together back then. The only time them two racing so hard and coming together. George now has Invade for company. He's going to try to hang it around the outside, and he can't do it. And also, this does open the door up for Skither. He only has to pass 1 car instead of 2. I may have got a little PTSD watching them go 3 wide there, because I did have a 3-wide collision in Tier 3 earlier this weekend, so I did not enjoy that one. I did not enjoy seeing that one either. Skither takes over 3rd place. He makes the pass on Hunted, and he makes it worth watching. Also in the background here, we got Blugagi, a lap car, watching George and Invade overtake each other. George back through, and Ikazuchi may take advantage on Invade, who has the track limit penalty. Does he have 6 or 3 seconds? No, he has 3. So that should be interesting. Goatly and Valkyrie also battling it out for 9th, while SV has another off. And Skither sets the fastest lap, but he's going to need more than 3 seconds a lap to get Jack and Tadpole. Oh, SV. 10 second.
And now he's going 2 laps down.
And now he's letting our leaders by. And now he's unghosted. And now we go to our race lead. We have, well, really, 2 laps to go. And Tadpole is trying to claim what would be a win for Virtuosi, I believe. Don't think it would be their first win of the season for them. I think they already had one. No, they did not. I'm wrong. Well, the Academy did have one with ART with Josh. So, you have that. But Goatley is now battling it with Valkyrie and hunted another track limit penalty. He had George clash right there early on as SV's around again. He had George clash with Skither, gained a gap, and maybe losing it based on track limit penalties to George. This is a bit appalling from Hunted, but I hope now, as he's full-time now for Tier 1, and won his last ever Tier 2 race, that he can figure it out later on today in Japan, Tier 1 later on. Well, 2 Tier 1 drivers later on right now. Run 1-2 battling for the win. I don't know what Tadpole's track limit situation is like, but we're going to check that. Tadpole has 1 warning to his name, and he sets his eyes on the final lap now of this Grand Prix, of the feature race. Tadpole hanging on and trying to become another new winner on the season. We've had Jack win. We've had Josh win. We have Skither setting fast lap. He's another winner. Minico, Metal, they've won races, but Tadpole is trying to become our 6th different winner of the season. And you know what? For this F2 grid, with F2's return, I would have to say it's been quite a competitive grid for our drivers. Finding their feet, really, finding whatever it may be. I mean, they've really done a decent job here with these battles and keeping the races clean. I think the sprint race and the feature race were a little messy, but I think it's our only messy ones from today so far, or this weekend so far. Well, not this weekend so far, the season so far with F2. SV reporting he has rear wing damage. That is why he has spun so many times. I think he's just chosen not to give up because he knows for TPs that look at his finishing rate, he would want it to be a slight smidge better. Tadpole has not won in 2 seasons, but he's being challenged by the man who is 2nd in the championship, trying to limit the damage from Skither, doing as good as he's done. But Jack, though, if he's closed in this much, and he's really still trying to put the pressure on, obviously he's trying to hold on from his teammate, but is he trying to get this track limit penalty appealed? That'll be the question. One last dance here into the final sector. Jack Miles has the momentum. Does he go for it? Yes, he does. Regardless of the penalty, he's throwing it down the inside of Tadpole. Will Tadpole hang on? Tadpole's giving a lot of room. And side by side here, Jack is through into the race lead on the final lap. But Tadpole, audacious send, goes almost into the side of Jack. This is going to be a photo finish between the pair of them. And if Jack gets his penalty appealed, he would win the race, but he crosses first, and it's Tadpole with another F2 victory, his first in 2 seasons, and all time for him, that is win number 6. Jack, Skither, they round out the podium. Good race from Trident. Good race from George to claw his way back up to 4th after the collision he had. Invade, just a little bit behind Hunted. FBL had a quiet race. Same with Ikazuchi. Valkyrie and Goatley are final points runners to cross the line. Valkyrie 8th, FBL 9th, Goatley 10th, you had Ikazuchi 7th, Invade 6th, Hunted 5th, George 4th, Titan Crossing 11th, and Blugagi 12th. That's quite the gravel on your car, Titan. SV going for some donuts here in the final couple of corners, and he will finish this race. Plumb last of our runners still left, but only 1 VSC for this event, and that rear wing damage is quite effective, but also his drifting skills are too. 4 runners we had retire from the event. Look at those wheels. Look at the wheels just twitching. That was quite nice. Speaking of Twitch, you can join us later on for F1 in Japan. And that will be interesting to see what our drivers end up doing for round 4 of the season. Just a reminder as well, we have Tier 3 at Hungary next week, Tier 2 at Spa, and F2 at Saudi, which should be fun under the lights, maybe in the daytime as well. We'll find out what ends up happening there. Our podium celebration is underway, and Tadpole wins from pole. Our last 20 feature races have been won from the top 3 starting spots. It happens once again. Invade says I need to see his first 2 laps, so we'll look back at that later on. But Tadpole, who won this race before in Season 6, wins once again. He sprays the champagne on the top step of the podium. Fair play to Tadpole. He gets the most points during the weekend as well. He had pole. He had points in the sprint race. He had the feature race victory to go with it. Skidded their fastest lap, and he ended up taking some good points for extra validation. We had 12 different drivers get points in this event, and Titan probably going to feel after he gets those appeals in that maybe it might be a 13th different one. That's for the sprint race, though, of course, for Titan's case. Here are your final results, folks. Take a look at through. Take a look at through. Nice one. Take a look through here at your drivers who either finished the race or did not. I have to give credit though to FBL. He's in the points again, although he doesn't shine each week. He shows up. Him and Titan, the only drivers to race every race since the start of season 18 in RPL F2. But VaporJS leaving the league. He's down in 17th. He had a appalling weekend on his F2 debut. Faded out. He crashed on track. Wavy and Trat, though, they retired in the pit lane. Skither, podium in both races from P16. Fair play. I'd have to give him driver of the day in the sprint race. The feature race, though, would have to go to either him or Tadpole. It's a toss-up between them. Them two made it worth watching for sure. We're going to ask our winners if they want any interviews. But Titan, you drove, well, with a lot of action around you, to say the least. I'll say that, to put it nicely. You had a decent race in the sprint, I would say. An unfortunate race in the feature. Tell me through your race before we get any interviews in. Tell me just your closing thoughts, I guess, of your race and just the weekend in general for all the drivers, too.
Could have gone better, honestly. So
Understandable.
Could have gone better.
Understandable. Saudi Arabia next week. What do you think of that?
It'll be interesting. We'll just have to wait and see on that one.
Well, I could always help you out, of course, because I recently ran a league race there. I'm sure that will help quite a bit. Looking at Faded's incident, he muscled Skither out of the way, and as I see the replay here, it was a collision between him and Skither as you spun it, Titan, and that was Trap plowing into Faded. Wow, that was that was a hefty impact. Wow, that was quite crazy. We can find out. Tadpole, there we go.
Alright. Well, I'll bounce. I'll see you for tier 1.
Alright, well, yeah, see you there, Titan. That should be lots of fun.
Soon.
Well, I'm trying to see if Tadpole will get in here. Thank you for joining me, Titan, as well, for some in-race reporting. It was good to have you. I enjoyed it, I would say. Especially for not having a co-com available today. It's good to have an in-race reporter every once in a while here to join us. Tadpole and Skither. Let's see if they can join us here for an interview. That's the correct terminology. Let's see if they do join us for an interview here. I don't know Tadpole's proper account. Tadpole F1 maybe? I don't know. We'll see if his audio does get included through the party. Skither didn't answer me for an interview, but yeah. Goat Lee wondering why FBL ran into everyone's behind just to pass them. Did it with Valk. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a dirty race entirely, but it was a bit chaotic at times. I think it was similar to Imola at one point where some guys just ended up getting over their heads, but it does end up happening every once in a while. We'll see if Tadpole does join the party. He does. Let's see if this audio does get included. Tadpole, mic check. Mic check. Mic check, Tadpole.
I believe it does work because I've found a thing that says include your audio in broadcast. I didn't know about that.
It does work. Let's go. Awesome stuff. Well, let's talk to you about your race.
Yep.
In season 6, first, just to mention, you won this race. It was your 3rd win. You've now multiplied that, getting your 6th win today, and your first win in 2 seasons. You mentioned last game being quite bad with F2 cars, but I'd say this game has been quite the turnaround for you with what you showed in preseason and now even today. What did you think of your race, and did you have a lot of pressure trying to hang on from Jack?
Yeah. So I was in a party with Jack, so it wasn't too feisty or anything. Most of it we just did DRS train to get away from the other guys. Obviously we both lagged out at the start, which was pretty terrifying. And Luckily, it put us in just before the start. So that's pretty good. Um, That's the question. Is there anything I'm missing?
Well, I mean, how did you feel to get back on the top step of the podium for F2?
Yeah, it's I don't do it again. It's been quite a few. I don't know. The first feature definitely a while. That's what I'm thinking. But it's good to be back. Hopefully I can keep doing that and not get as much bad luck as I did in previous seasons in F2. But yeah, better than the last game, I think.
So you won the sprint in Monza the last time. Then it was Baku 2 seasons prior. Your most previous win prior to that came in season 6. I mean, that was quite the drought, to be honest. You won Britain that season, and that was a sprint race as well. You said quite a long time since a feature win. Well, let's find out. Have you ever won a feature, Tadpole? You have not ever won a feature. It's your first feature race win.
There we go. The feature's where it really counts, though, isn't it? You get like
Yeah, very
50 more
true.
points.
Most points possible. You have Blue Gagi, who passed you in the standings just last week, and he extended a gap in the sprint race. But that's the sprint. You get less points. You ended up beating him in that feature race, and well, you'll take over the top 5 in the championship. With that being said, how do you feel about that ahead of Jeddah?
Obviously, what a good 50 points behind. So still, so it's a long road, but obviously it's a short calendar, so it also makes it even harder, especially missing the last 2 races. But I should be able to do the rest, which is good.
And one final question. Tier 1 later today. Expectations for Japan?
Apparently I'm actually not too bad at this track. From what I did at least a month ago, so that's good news. I thought I was in the 27s, but low 26s for that Ferrari somehow. I've no idea where I pulled that from, but it should be interesting. I don't know how quick the house has been. I haven't raced for a week, so I'll need to get used to the F1 cars again, of course.
Well, you also got another pole as well today. I want to I want to give you congrats on that. That being your let's see, how you got pole. Yeah. How many poles do you have for F2? Oh, no, it's your 5th. Well, it also being your 6th win, you move up to 17th on the all-time win list, just behind Elite and Bonky, tying Egg and MZQN. It should be interesting to see what happens next week in Jeddah. For the event, one more race this weekend, F1 Japan, then F2 in Jeddah for next week's event at the halfway point of the season. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, saying goodbye. We'll see you next time.